10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Drag racing fans, what's up? What's going on today? Another episode of Power Hour brought to you by Competition Plus is about to start now. So strap in, pull those seatbelt tights as we go full throttle and talk everything racing on another episode of the Power Hour. And I am not alone, so I want to bring in my co-host, Monday Morning Racer. I'm Slammin' Sam. Lee,
hey,
how's it going tonight?
Man, I am doing great. I just got out of the sim rig. I've got a brand new PC built. I was on iRacing, slinging the dirt around in the street stock. And look, I didn't wreck nobody. Nobody wrecked me, and I didn't finish last. So I'll take that as a success for the first outing on iRacing.
You know what? Since we're in the giving mood and everything like that, I might as well give you a slammy for that because you're going out and you're doing other stuff that, nobody else is doing. I haven't got on iRacing. I really should. But, hey, Lee, as you can tell, I'm in a different area. Actually out in California visiting some friends and families for the New Year's. Got to surprise some friends. But, Lee, a lot of stuff going on here after Christmas. And this is the last episode of me being 29. So, shout out to the big 3-0 in the morning.
Woo! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Hey, in the chat, folks, you that are watching, hit the like button wherever you're watching. But in the chat, if you're on iRacing, say iRacing. And if you want to wish Sam a happy birthday, type in happy birthday.
Yep. And then, Lee, hey, also thank you to everybody that has gone on to your podcast forums and have watched us. I mean, thank you for that and listen to the podcast. Those are, we really appreciate you guys going and do that. Again, the Power Hour on all your major platforms. You can listen to the podcast. Also, you can email us anytime at powerhourcp@gmail.com. So, I mean, Lee, a lot of things to kind of talk about other than me getting older. But how about the TMT, Floyd Money Mayweather? Did you hear about this exciting news? But I don't really know if it's exciting for us. He's talking about getting into a NASCAR team. I mean, I know we're not, NASCAR focused, but how is that a good thing or a bad thing is the first question I want to ask to you.
I think it is good for anybody with the money, such as Floyd Money Mayweather, to come into another sport and bring that name, that mystique with him. I mean, hopefully there's no fights he gets involved in the pits. That would be nasty for anybody in the motorsport world.
His hands are registered, so I don't think he can.
Right. But it's always good to hear about a new team. I mean, the other new team coming into NASCAR would be Michael Jordan with Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace. And you've seen these sports figures make moves like this before into the world of motorsports. I think of Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach. I think of Brett Favre even. I think of Terry Bradshaw. But the common denominator, man, and I think it's sad for drag racing, is oftentimes when these celebrities and these people from other sports with big financial backing come into a form of motorsport, they look to stock car racing, NASCAR in particular. What do you think the problem is? Why aren't we seeing celebrities come into drag racing? You'd think that would be the case. It's so simple. Start, whoever's to the line first wins, the speeds, the sights, the sound. So what does drag racing got to do, you think, to bring in some cha-ching?
So talking about it with a couple of people, what I heard and people express is that drag racing to them is so short. And I understand that, but I don't. They say, well, if you have your sponsorship on a car and they are making, 500 laps, or they're making 32 laps in the IMCA world, as you talked about iRacing, you get to see that advertisement a little bit more. They have their heat race and, they may have a B main and then an A main. So they feel that they get to see that car more often. But in my sense of it, I see, okay, now you've got a car that may be making more laps, but the wear and tear on that, the banging in the IMCA world. Speaking of people that are coming into the sport, you also have Fletcher Cox, who is a football, an NFL football player who is in the no prep scene and different things like that. So I think it gives them a better platform because they can see their money go, the long run. But I got to think, in my personal opinion, it may take a little bit more to, have all the spare parts that those guys and girls need in that industry. So I think NHRA, maybe the racers, maybe, hey, reach out and see if there's someone who wants to get into racing, doesn't know what industry. I think we need to invite people to our sport. And I think that's where we're lacking in getting the sponsorships that we need.
Right. I definitely think drag racing has got to bring people out. It always shocks me at Pomona. We should see at Pomona, every race at Pomona, there ought to be on display movie stars. Not that I think that all the movie stars are great, but the ones that are interested, work on them, get them out of the track, get those followers clued in on, hey, they were at a drag race and what their experience was. Get them to the line and see what drag racing is all about, because I think if anyone sees a drag race in person and experiences, they will instantaneously think, oh, this is the best motorsports show that there is. There is nothing like Nitro. There is nothing like Pro Mod. There's nothing like professional level pro stock drag racing. It is impressive. And I think they got to work all the angles and bring folks in.
Also, I think too, Lee, we see these sports, Formula One, we see NASCAR, we see all these different types of racing on TV more. And I think, attest to what we're doing here tonight and what we do every Tuesday and what, a slew of other people, Joe and Drag Illustrated and the Caruso families and Clay Milliken, everybody else is doing is, if we can get a platform where we can talk to the people, show the people, hey, this is what this sport is about. I think the more we fill the social media network with videos and content is the better off that we get it in front of these people. And then they're like, hey, you know what? Why don't I experience this? Also, another thing I think we should do is the baptism by Nitro, by Pro Stock, or whatever you want to call it, whatever flavor you like. I think we need to bring that and make that a presentation. We need to draw the people in to want to submit, their friends, their aunties, their uncles, their cousins, to get that experience, win that package. So now, as soon as you do that, boom, you're hooked. You're hooked on just not that driver, but that whole class, and now it's a ripple effect.
Yes, look, every fan wants to experience the line of a top fuel dragster, of a Nitro funny car, and know what that is like, because you feel it from the stands. It's like, what is it like at the line? And look, it is impressive. The way I describe it is, it's like your life has been put on pause, and then you catch back up after everything has been hit on pause. I mean, I'm filming a Top Fuel Dragster. I'm filming a Nitro funny car. I'm braced up. My teeth are clenched. I know it's coming, and yet still am not ready for it. It is truly impressive. I have wondered, why not possibly a fan lottery system? Like adding the Powerball on that lottery ticket, a little extra, maybe $10, maybe $20, puts you in a pool of fans for your day to be drawn to get line access for one or two runs, or maybe even a qualifying session. Allow fans to get to the line and experience, I think, one of the greatest things in motorsports that there is, period. What do you think, fans? Something like that to get you to the line. An extra purchase on the ticket, lottery, what would it be?
I think that's where it goes back to what we kind of talked about last week with the All-Star Weekend. If we have that All-Star Weekend where guys and girls can come in and, show off, do a little different competitions, but then that week is kind of fan-oriented more so than any other week, where we get, those select few fans that have won, from different things. We pull them to a neutral location and we do some things more with the fans to draw them in the NHRA. Not saying that NHRA by no means is not doing the right thing. I think just that little more incentive will appease your football players, your basketball players, because you got to think they want to be able to do this, but in breach of contract, they can't. So, I mean, it's just like these hunting shows that we see. Out to Doug in the comments, thank you. I did work on the mic, but it's my travel mic, so hopefully this one's better. And then to one of my really good friends, Ray Rocket, cue me, miss. Thanks, man, for throwing that one in there. That's good laughs. Marty, Happy New Year's to everyone. Exactly. We're definitely looking forward to that. And then to another comment, Destroyer, perfect example. Here's a perfect example, Lee. Every week that we're on a Tuesday, you can see Destroyer 1320. He's on, he's commenting, he's hitting that like if we could give out a package to him for, that reward or something like that, he would be my first guy I'd let do a burnout with me in the old 87 Mustang.
Hey, man, look, he is on the ball. If you go catch his live stream, he's actually wearing Competition Plus apparel while he is streaming on his channel. Hey, Joe Morrison chimes in. He drives a Top Fuel dragster. I mean, it's not that important. Oh, yes, it is. He says there used to be a mellow yellow contest that allowed a few select fans the chance to get near the starting line. We should see if Marcus Lemonis would put something like that together with Gander Outdoor and or Camping World. Look, yes, it needs to happen. There needs to be some type of system to get fans, I think, to the line. Work it out with the insurance. Stop saying insurance is the problem. I'm sure almost any fan would willingly sign a waiver in their own blood. Let me experience a launch of a Top Fuel dragster or a Nitro funny car. I'm sure that they would.
Well, then we got the boss man chiming on here that says they won't even let him on his own show. Oh, come on. You were welcome anytime, boss man.
Well,
I mean,
I can't help it if we're the cool kids. I'm just saying.
Maybe we'll change that in 2021. No promises. And that's something we got to talk about too, Lee. Like I said, 2021's right around the corner. But you talk about letting people take these chances and letting people sign this waiver. I mean, even tonight's show, maybe this is another test to you getting on a bike. I mean, with one of our guests, I mean, he's a bike guy. So, I mean, are you trying to draw more anticipation to we see Lee, the Monday morning racer, on a bike in 2021? Or, I mean, what are you trying to do here?
Hey, if it gets worked out, and I got to call Mike Ashley. He said he would pay. I remember that. I'm going to hold him to it. We're going to figure something out. And I don't think Pro Stock Motorcycle would work very well. I'd bog it down. It's not quite my fit. But Top Fuel Harley, that's a different story. You got to have a little weight to throw those things around. So, hey, I hope it does get worked out. Hey, Victor Zimmerman, I think I've said that right. Yes, he asked this. Will John Force Racing be back in action in 2021? Victor, short answer, yes, I do believe so. Can I confirm that by any source? No, but I do believe they will be back. What do you think there, Sam?
No, I don't know. Let's flip a quarter. No, Rochambeau right now. Rochambeau.
I can't do it. I got the mouse. I can't do it, man. See?
Okay, you win.
All right.
Yeah, who knows? That's one of those things. I know that's highly anticipated. Everybody wants to know, will the Force family be out racing? Will John be back out racing? At this point, guys and girls, we all want to know the answer. We all are waiting to hear that final answer of saying, okay, John, are you coming back or not? What's the deal? It's what I call a cliffhanger in life, right? I mean, but at this point, just respect the fact that the family does not want to make a decision. John and his team doesn't want to make a decision right now. And until that moment, maybe it'll be like a ESPN. That's what needs to happen. John needs to call ESPN and get 24 hours like LeBron James did, and he can come out with that announcement and take all day to do it. If I was his PR guy, that's what would happen.
I know one thing. They need to, I feel, stop hammering, stop going back to his 150th win. They keep harping on it. There's other things in his career. It's prestigious. It's huge. I get it. But the NHRA did it. And then they did a rerun. And then there was a YouTube video. And here recently they were talking about it over the holidays. Find something else. The 150th win has been a little while. Let's go on. Let's move. I haven't heard anything about Austin Prock. Haven't heard anything about Brittany Force hardly. Come on, folks. Give us a little bit of something. Maybe not a 2021 announcement, but clue us in. Speaking of cluing in, we're going to take a break. And taking a break after that, we're going to have our pit insider, Jeff Arend, right after that, see what he's got for us or what we can cook up for him. This word on Competition Plus apparel.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
The Insider is in now on the Power Hour. Jeff, how's it going?
Good. How about you guys?
Man, I'm great.
Jeff, I'm right down the road. Can I get an invite?
Yeah, come on over to the fire pit. World famous.
All right.
So, Jeff, I know we were talking a little bit before, and you're like, man, there's not a whole lot of good, juicy information out there in the pits. Let me ask this. What is the cigar of choice for those in the Nitro pit world?
You can't go wrong with like a Romeo and Julieta or a Cohiba. Either one of those two, I don't think anybody's going to turn that stuff down.
All right. There's the recommendation. Sure.
All right. So I heard you guys talking about... Go ahead.
Where does a guy find one of those? I'm in California, so where does a guy find one?
They have a lot of cigar stores here, but if you want to get the good deal, you got to buy them online.
I'm sure they're heavily regulated.
Yeah, a little bit. But so I heard you guys talking about getting people out to drag racing. So
sure.
I have a lot of experience with that. When I drove for Colettas at the DHL deal, we would have a hospitality set up there and obviously invite people that were doing business with DHL or Optima Batteries, whoever our sponsors were, and they would come out. And, a lot of them weren't drag racing fans. So they came out, they had this cool deal. And I think that people that aren't into racing at all think drag racing, greasy guys, pickup trucks, dirt, whatever. And the people would come out to our deal and, Colettas had a first class hospitality set up. I mean, we're getting 3-4 course meals, all kinds of food, tent, you're not sitting in the sun, like all the cool stuff. And I would say that probably 90% of them would go, when's the next drag race? They were hooked. I think NHRA's got to find a way to get people out there. I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you do the $20 a carload deal or what you're going to do. But if you get people to the race and they see the cars, they're looking for the next time to go out. And I think that's a very important thing to look into.
Yes, sir. If we can get people to the drag race, I think they're going to come to it over any other motorsport event. They honestly are. It's that impressive. I was like this drag racing evangelist when I was a teenager. I'd always take a day off of school and go to Friday qualifying for the Southern Nationals, and I'd always take some friend along. And it never failed. After that Friday qualifying, the next year they're coming to me. When's drag racing? Can we go? Never failed.
For sure. I mean, it's such an exciting sport. And I think kind of the cool part about it is it doesn't take a long time. So you can watch a bunch of races in a fairly short amount of time. I guess the con to that is if you have a NASCAR team, which of course is like 10 times the money of a drag racing team, even if you're in last place, they'll be going, hey, this person just lapped that guy or whatever. So you're probably going to be guaranteed a little more TV time on a NASCAR deal. But is it 10 times the exposure? I don't think it is, obviously. I had a few ideas, and Graham Alight and I are pretty tight. And when he was doing the deal, and I go, I've been a Night Under Fire, and if you've never been a Night Under Fire and you live anywhere near Norwalk, you have to go to that because I would pay to watch it. They put the whole show between like 7 and 10 o'clock. They tell you before the race even starts. They go, okay, Jeff, you're going to run at like 7:23, and your next run at 9:18. And I'm like, how about someone like oils the track down or something? And it's like, I don't think they really cared. I mean, you're running at those times. But they put this whole cool show on in a pretty short amount of time. And it's just very exciting. to come out to Pomona and, or whatever race you're going to go to, and come out there with your family at like 10 in the morning so you get a seat, and then not leave till 10 at night, it's not going to happen. So I think they should have a race that maybe doesn't have all the classes in it, but has all the pro classes, of course, like Top Fuel, Nitro Funny Car, Pro Mod, Harley, whatever, but have certain run times for them. And basically every seat should be reserved. So if you come there, you have a seat for sure. You're not have to put a blanket down and wait for 4 hours to get there early. There should be family stands and drinking stands, I think, so that if you come there with your family, you're not surrounded by a bunch of drunks, which does happen now and then. It's not bad, but whatever. I think that should happen. And then if you have set run times and you do have an oil down, you have time to prep the track properly. You could have a set of like mobile stands that would, come around and to put them in like, Schumacher's pit one time. And people would sit in those stands. They didn't have to get back to the track because nothing's going on right now. And they could watch the team take the car apart. They could have the driver or the crew chief come up with a microphone. They could ask questions and get answers. And you could move that set of stands around to different teams throughout the whole year. So everybody's going to get that exposure. And then if you have, limited number of cars, like I said, if you have problems, you can fix them. You could have the midway again. You're not scared to go to the midway or get something to eat because there's a set run time for everything. So you have an hour break. Everybody gets to hang out, go get food, go back, sit in their reserved seat. They can walk around the midway. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could make it better. But I understand also, with any trade, like the sportsman people pay a lot of money to come to the track and they bring people, and that's a pretty big source of revenue for them. So how to make that all work, I don't know, but you definitely have to get the people to the racetrack, and I think the sport will hook itself.
Hey, Jeff, so question there for you. On this shortened weekend that you're trying to do that, would this be a ultimate weekend to have like an all-star weekend? Like, like you said, shorten the classes, bring those, and you don't want to exclude anyone, right? But like, wouldn't this be a good all-star weekend break like we have in every other sport? That way it's a bigger celebration to everything.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. As far as like, for me, and it's no offense to the sportsman guys, but, I have friends at Sportsman Race, and, they'll tell you, hey, you're running at 8 in the morning, and then you get delayed, and now you're running at 8 at night. Oh, you don't get a run in today, it rained, or someone held the track down. Is it that much fun for them to go to the national event? I don't know. Maybe it is, and that's what they look forward to, but isn't it better, I would think, to have the divisional races, of course, with the sportsman cars, and then have the pro races? And then I think you could organize it a lot better. Now, most of the time in a divisional race, you just don't get a lot of spectators. So I understand maybe for the tracks, it's not as monetarily good for them. But if you have a pro-only show, with a few fillers, let's say, you have a lot more better time management if you have problems. And I think the show's just too long. You can't be sitting out there with your family for 10 hours. I mean, you have a baseball game, whatever, soccer game, a football game. They're a few hours long, and I think that's the attention span of people. No one wants to sit out there all day, so you have to find a way to, start the race at noon and finish it at 5 or whatever, and whether it be qualifying or not, and just get everything in that short amount of time.
Jeff, so last question for you. There's a rumor floating around. You alluded to it last week. You got any more definite news on a Nitro crew chief switch and the possible implications for 2021?
Well, I've heard from one of my friends is the crew chief, obviously, and I know 100% for sure he's lost his job. And the team he was with was, a fairly new team that did really well, won a race, and could have won more, set low ET all the time. And I don't want to give away too many secrets. But I really don't want to go out ahead of the team making a press release to say that they've got a new crew chief. Now, to get a better crew chief than the one they had, I just thinking in my own mind, it might be a 2-car team with maybe a bigger team like, a DSR or whoever. Speaking of all those teams you're speaking about, John Force coming back, I would probably bet money that he's going to be back. DSR is going to be back, but a lot of these teams have furloughed their employees. So they've kept the drivers and the crew chiefs, kind of on payroll, on a reduced payroll, but all the crew guys are gone. So it's very, very tough to find proper crew people. So unless they're got a deal for sure for next year, I could see it being pretty tough to get everything ramped up again for them in a few short months when they start racing in March again.
All right. Well, Jeff, look, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight. We need you to smoke the cigar and drink a little bit more so we get more information out of you, man. Come on.
No problem.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, guys. You have a good night.
Appreciate
You
it.
too. Happy New Year's.
Folks, look, we do have down in the studio TJ Zizzo. You can't see him right now. I can. He looks a bit cold in the shop. I hope he gets warmed up. We're going to be bringing him on in a few moments. And we also have Steve Johnson. He has come on. We're waiting for some clarity on that camera. We will be bringing those guys on. Now, I do want to mention a few things from the comments. We had BTA Fire 2. He mentioned this, and I have to agree with him. Somebody buy Atlanta Dragway and make it nice. Dude, I have to agree with you wholeheartedly. There was a period where Atlanta was like the nicest drag strip after its renovation in the late 80s, early 90s. And then somebody just did not take care of it. And guess who that somebody was? The NHRA. Sam, here's my question to you. A revamped, revitalize Atlanta Dragway, Georgia's House of Speed, there in Commerce, Georgia, just up the road on 85 there from Atlanta. What do you think a revamped facility in that region that has grown so much in the United States, what do you think that would mean? What do you think the impact for drag racing and motorsports would be?
Well, first off, I'm going to throw a potential buyer. He was listening earlier. I saw him. JT Hudson, a.k.a. Murder Tundra. I think you should buy it. You're the perfect candidate. Listen to me now. But with these growing communities and cultures in racing, we took it away. So now there's a lot more people that are hungry for it. And there's more opportunities. There's, throughout COVID and whatever else you want to throw out against it, if you look at the dynamics of racing across the board, we've grown. Product sales are up. There's talk of more people getting into the sport and getting active and coming back home, per se. So I honestly think if we can get a buyer of the track, someone who is very motivated and out there to say, hey, guess what? Give us one more opportunity. Maybe it's a shortened race, or maybe it's the All-Star weekend, the All-Star break that I keep mentioning up that I think we should have. If we get the chance, and the right person in the seat to run that operation, hands down, I think it'll be one that we're talking about for 2022 and beyond. That's going to be on the race season.
Definitely, man. Hey, Loose Cannon, he mentions about Bakersfield. Saturday night Nitro was the best. I have not personally experienced that. But look, Nitro at night on the streets of Bakersfield, well, the drag strip, that has got to be a good time. Thank you, Loose Cannon, for mentioning that.
See, Lee, and I just thought about it. Like I said, sitting here, kind of where I grew up in San Diego, California, I remember what drew me to wanting to continue racing. We had this thing called Street Legal. And what it was at Qualcomm Stadium, which is now tearing it down because of some NFL team that was horrible in San Diego. They moved to LA. But this isn't the podcast to talk about sports like that. But they had a Friday night students street race, per se. They put up the tree, they put up safety, and you race. It was $20, $25, and you can make as many laps in your car. I think that's another way to get people, get these names back into it if they see people doing that. Now you have a business owner or, a local sports enthusiast father who's involved, and now he's like, hey, Dad, can I go run my car on Friday nights at the track? Well, then that kid is more apt to saying, hey, Dad, I want to go back Saturday. Oh, Dad, the NHRA is going to be there. I really want to race this weekend. So I think those starter programs help in the long run across the board too.
Definitely, man. Look, Wednesday night, Lancaster Dragway in Lancaster, New York International Raceway Park, as it's known now. Wednesday night was bring anything and everything and run it. You had school buses, you had four cylinders, you had guys doing test and tune. One guy even attempted on a 3-wheeler. They didn't allow that one. Those dangerous death machines. Nonetheless, you've got to allow people to experience it and have an opportunity. It was just like $5, and you could take runs down the strip. It was awesome. And I'm also saw some things that I wish I didn't, frankly, at a drag strip, but it happened and it needed to happen. Hey, Joe mentions about the Saturday Night Nitro and says that he got his top alcohol dragster license at one of those events in Jerry Darian's A Fuel Cart. That's cool, Joe. Thank you for dropping that information. And Old Shooter, go ahead, man.
Seems like a lot of stuff happened in Bakersfield, and I'm right down the road. Knew nothing about it. They kept it all a secret. Disappointed.
Well, there is a whole song about the streets of Bakersfield, so something is happening down in Bakersfield. I know that much. Old Shooter says, my memorable starting line experience: hijacked a ride in the tow truck with my buddy when he raced Blaine Johnson in top alcohol dragster at the Spring Nationals in Columbus. Wow, that is a great experience, Old Shooter. Blaine for one, Columbus for another. Top alcohol dragster. And yeah, sneak into the line. I've done that on a couple occasions. You got to cut some red tape every now and then, Sam.
Oh, yeah. Hey, before we bring our guests on, Lee, I didn't ask you this before Christmas, but did Santa bring you what you wanted this year for Christmas?
Oh, definitely, man. I got what I wanted in the PC world for sure. Doing the iRacing thing now, Motorsports Manager, definitely needed that for the video editing for Monday Morning Racer and other applications. But I'm still waiting on the drag racing gift for sure.
Hey, who knows, man? Like I said, 2021, March. We said it was going to happen. So down there in Florida at the Door Slammers, who knows? I'm expecting to race you and beat you, of course, because it's just going to happen. Oh. And I want to see you in all these different, rides that you're going to hop on this year. So looking forward to it.
If we make it possible, I'm doing it. Something else we're going to do, we're going to bring in TJ Zizzo right after this break. Mr. Zizzo, be ready. After the break, you're live on the Power Hour.
On the street, in the water, or at the track. If you drive it, we can fuel it.
TJ!
What's happening, guys?
What's going on?
Great.
I'm loving it, guys. You kidding? It's snowing out here in Chicago for the first time this year. So cars outside warming up. I got my winter hat on. Chicks dig it. Oh, man, I can't wait to go out there and do some donuts out there pretty soon. In the next, probably, as soon as I get off the show, it's Donut City in the first parking lot I could find.
Please record that and post it live so everyone can see it. Like, I know how you feel living in North Dakota. That first snowfall, it's like, ooh, can I get out there? Can I get out there? And it snowed on Christmas, so I'm like, oh yeah, got to make Santa's sleigh look like he got a little lost in the parking lot.
You know what? I should video most of the stuff I do. Can I swear on this show, guys? I can't swear, can I?
PG-13 swearing. We want to keep it monetized.
Man, if I just simply video stuff that we do all day around here, I think I would almost be famous. Almost.
Yeah, almost. Hey, look, Destroyer 1320, he already says that Zizzo is the shizzo. So,
Shizzo!
Look.
Shizzo!
Yes. And look, talk to me about that, TJ. You're a fan favorite out there. You might not be as well known as Force or some of the other cats, but you are a fan favorite. You take time for the fans. I remember when I interviewed you and you spoke about how great the fans were at that hot, like Indy 1 or Indy 2. So, yeah, how have you become this fan favorite, and why is it you love interacting with the fans the way in which you do?
First of all, guys, Clay Milliken called me a veteran just in an interview on Comp Plus recently. When I heard I was a veteran, I'm like, holy cow, no wonder I don't have any hair. I must be a veteran at that point. But yeah, dude, it's cool. I enjoy being with the fans. I truly have, for some reason, just kind of sat in on the fans knowing who TJ Zizzo is because I'm nuts. I'm not normal. I say what I want to say. I usually do what I want to do. Sometimes to the chagrin of my dad, saying, what the heck did you say that for? Well, I just say what I want to say most of the time, and I think fans dig it.
Can't be mad at that at all. Hey, so I gotta ask, this personality, this you just being energetic yourself, and why is that? Why do you just have that infectious personality and energy all the time?
I wake up and I love what I do every day, guys. I have worked for my dad in our body shop for 27 years. When I graduated college, I never thought in a million years I'd be working for my dad. But I have never gone to work a day in my life. I enjoy what I do every day. I spring out of bed at 5:55 every morning. I'm at the shop by 6:15. I'm usually here till 6:15 at night at least. I love what I do. So why should I be negative? There's no reason to be negative. Guys, I do what I love to do every day. My wife still puts up with me. My kids adore me. Our customers think I'm crazy. Our fans think I'm fairly cool. I'm surrounded by great people. Our team members of our race car continue to show up here at our shop. I'm surprised they're not here right now. They're probably clamoring to be here. Our employees get along very well with me and my dad and what we do every day here. So, guys, what's there not to be happy about, man? It's all good. I get to do what I want every single day and love it.
Get to do what you want to do every single day. He loves it. And hey, Sam, he's talking with us. That's got to be cool too. So, TJ,
hey, I feel like we're getting cooler now by talking too. I got to point.
Yeah,
that
I know. The coolness is hopefully flowing over us and impacting us.
But Lee, I got to ask one question.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
There is a Ford Mustang in the background over there.
Right,
please tell me that has a Ford motor in it.
It has a Ford motor, and it's very rare. They've only made a couple of them. It only has 800 miles on it. It's here because it sat outside for a while and the decals wore off. That is what is called a sack snake. They didn't make many of them, and it's a rarity. So it's here to get refurbished so it can go out and enjoy the spring weather here in Chicago.
No, keep it there. I will come. Yeah, don't tell anyone. No one heard what you just said. No one heard what you just said.
And that car is super. It came from your neck of the woods, my man. It came from your neck of the woods.
Hey, we're keeping secrets here.
I can't keep secrets, man. I can't.
Oh man, that's
with the Mustang. Awesome. With the Mustang being mentioned, what is it that the Zizzos actually do? Everybody sees the top fueler and all their drag racers, but you're more than that. What is the family business? And from what I understand, it's from like regular cars to some exotics.
I'm very blessed. My dad started this business 40 years ago. He really built it on quality and what we want out of our employees and out of our craftsmanship is just perfection. So people drop off cars here. They're prized possessions for us to work on. It is a body shop. I mean, you see a Honda back there. You see all kinds of normal cars back there. We work on anything that comes through our door, but I will tell you guys, there are times in which you shouldn't see what we're working on, and we don't show the general public what we're working on. Behind, you look down maybe 4 or 5 car lengths back there, tucked away underneath that big mezzanine back there, are cars in which our customers don't want you guys seeing. So it's super, man. We love it. It's a body shop. That's what it is, my man. Plain and simple.
Awesome there. Okay, so let's ask the question here on your racing, on your racing team. You have a long-lasting team. Your team has been together for a while. What's the glue? What's the, gear lube? Like, tell us the secrets of how the mixture of all this works to keep that working together and a well-oiled machine.
Well, thank you for noticing. Some of our guys have been with me for 28 years. A lot of us have been together working as a team for more than 10 years. Our crew chief has been with us for a really long time as well. The glue, the patriarch of this team is my dad. There is no doubt about it. He puts in effort just like everyone else does around here. He gets lists of things to do throughout the week. He always conquers them. He always does them. And he's the guy who glues us all together. He'll be out here sweeping floors with us, doing whatever it takes to get it done. And there's no doubt about it. He my dad's a tough guy to work for, man. He demands perfection. He demands that everything is perfect. He demands that his half-inch wrenches, which one of our team members, I happen to have it here, welded together because sometimes his half-inch wrenches are missing, so they welded them in a Z just for him. But that's the fun of our team, too. We also know that we have to enjoy what we're doing. None of us are doing this for a living, guys. And thankfully, we're not doing it for a living in this day and age of drag racing, right? But when we go out there, we want to do really well. Our team members want to perform really well. They know they have my safety in mind. I cook them pasta a lot. Maybe that's what the glue is. Maybe it's my grandma's pasta sauce.
Hey, speaking of pasta, the pizza. Look, you kept your end of the bargain, and you got all that pizza for Justin Ashley and that crew. And look, I want to thank you. I did a little filming as it came over and was able to get a few slices. A little cold, very strange day in St. Louis. But, hey, man, that was cool move. Cool move.
Well, thank you, man. I've always said, right, if you're going to promise somebody something, you better at least attempt it. And yeah, St. Louis was freezing. Of course, we were waiting between the raindrops, so the pizza came, and we had to go to the starting line, and we came back. There was and it wasn't Chicago-style pizza. That was the whole gig. But St. Louis, it's not even close to Chicago-style pizza. But needless to say, yeah, man, I had to uphold a commitment. I was committed to Justin Ashley. He kicked our butt. I almost said a swear, but he kicked our butt at the U.S. Nationals. And, hey, it was what it was. I got out of the car. I wasn't too happy about it all. But, hey, once again, I put on a smile because I'll tell you one thing, guys. I got a chance to compete the next day at the U.S. Nationals. What's so bad about that?
So how was the wait? How did you deal with that?
Never again. Never again. That it's impossible. It's kind of funny. So from embarking on our racing this year, we did a lot in a short amount of time. So it put me behind in everything else we do. We have multiple businesses. We don't just have a body shop. We have multiple businesses as well in real estate and things of that nature. So, here's the deal, guys. I went back maybe a couple weeks ago and started going through paperwork from the months of July, August, beginning of September. I looked at some of my mathematics and went, holy cow, TJ, what were you thinking? You weren't even close on this stuff. And you know why? Because I was thinking about Justin Ashley. That's why.
You got in your head. So Destroyer 1320 asked the question, are you a Bears fan? And I hope you say no.
All right, guys, this is going to be long-winded. I'm usually long-winded, and I apologize about that. So I am a Cleveland Browns fan, to answer your question. But I was a huge Bears fan my whole life. Attended plenty of games. Yeah, on a Sunday, I'll still leave it on in the background as I'm doing some paperwork. But I am truly not a huge Bears fan as I once was. I've been disappointed by the McCaskey family for decades. They really need to sell that team and sell it to somebody with some different kind of passion. I'm not saying the McCaskey family doesn't have passion, but they need to sell it to some young buck who really cares about the team and wants the team to really be successful. I've seen Ryan Pace make some really bad decisions when it comes to drafting and player picks, just all kinds of things over the years. So I've left the Bears, and I am now a Browns fan, although you can tell I stumbled over that a little bit. But I am truly a Cleveland Browns fan for the past probably 4 years.
Well, the
Awesome.
Browns are on the rise, so not a bad time to get on the bandwagon for sure, for sure. Look, I think you and your team are ones that fans ought to be on the bandwagon of. Look, I loved the gold car. I think the red car is even better than the gold car. Talk to me about the relationship with Rust-Oleum and getting these cars to looking so doggone cool and fly like they do. When y'all show up, y'all have one of the best, cleanest appearing of top fuel dragsters that there is out there.
Thanks for noticing that too, man. You are a super big fan of the sport. I just want to match your glasses. That's all I want to do. I always want to match your sunglasses. That's the whole stick here at Zizzo Racing, right?
Look,
Hey, Lee.
We'll call Oakley. We can figure it out. I mean,
Lee, we finally got somebody that likes the glasses. This is a big deal.
Wow, I know.
You-
Most people are ratting me.
Zizzo is giving you a slammy right now by giving you a couple. This is two in one night. You're catching up.
I'm catching up. And
Two
look,
in one night.
for anybody that may want to diss the glasses forever, Zizzo likes them. And that's fine for me. I'm okay with that. Thank you, Zizzo.
Hey.
Thank you.
Here it is. You need to put that and like go back, edit this out, and use his voice for any time someone says,
Yes.
take the glasses off. Just throw Zizzo up and say, I'm just trying to match the glasses. Done.
Bingo. There we go. But yes, man, they are beautiful cars. Love them. How many years has it been with Rust-Oleum now?
You know, guys, I've been very fortunate, right? Rust-Oleum would not sponsor a race car. That's not what they're after. You know, they don't ask me how I performed at the U.S. Nationals. They don't ask me how I did at Indy 2. Sure, are they proud of how we are on the racetrack and how we represent their products? Absolutely. Do they love how nice our car looks? Yes. To answer your question, that is the first question, right? A lot goes into that paint scheme. It should be simple. It should be clean. Rust-Oleum helps us with that. Their graphic designers over there at Rust-Oleum help us design that race car. Specifically, a lady named Nikki. She's the one who does it for us, and she's done a great job. Then it's time when it comes back to our shop to really lay it out and make sure it looks good. And that goes back once again to my dad and I and our craziness of how we want things clean and nice. Do I enjoy washing all of our team's uniforms after an event 20 times in our washing machine? No, I don't. But being white and crisp make it pop. It makes Rust-Oleum pop. But I worked, not I. There's no I in this. We work in our body shop really, really hard for Rust-Oleum. Every day we're doing R&D on many different products, not just automotive products that they sell. Just making sure that they have number one quality products. Even simple things like nozzles and tips on their cans we've helped design and help allow them to have a better product. Kind of like the Krylon Touch, right? Well, that didn't sit well with me, so I'm like, hey, let's make a better tip. It takes a long time, but they've done it. So it's a truly working relationship. Do they love when we go to the final round? Absolutely. But when they get pulled to the carpet, when my boss or bosses get pulled to the carpet at Rust-Oleum, it's not to say, hey, how's Zizzo doing at the racetrack? It's, hey, what have the Zizzos done for us lately? And the cool thing is, when that happens, they could go back to their bosses, like my boss's boss and their bosses, and tell them everything good that we've done for their brand and also their products. So that's why it works so well, guys. It's not necessarily being at an NHRA championship racetrack. It's truly working really hard for them every day.
That is cool to hear, man, that you've got that working relationship, and it's not just about money coming to y'all and a name on the car, but there's R&D and there's that relationship. That is what sponsorship and partnership should be all about. Love that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I agree. And it's one thing we really didn't do with Peak, right? We had Peak for many, many years. For 12 years, we had Peak on the side of our race car. And a good friend of mine over there, and I still have a lot of great friends, we did a lot of wonderful things, but it was truly just a sponsorship. You know, that's what it was. And that's why it ended. So I learned from that. And we've been with Rust-Oleum now for 7 years. It's amazing. And I'll never forget that time when they called me up. I was on the roof of my house re-sheeting my roof. And they called and said, hey, TJ, we would really like to do this with you for a race and see how it goes. So it's been wonderful.
So outside of your class now, which is Top Fuel, what other class would interest you the most? You had a chance.
There is nothing that gets me more excited than banging gears on a top alcohol dragster. That's what I did for decades, and I really enjoyed it. I miss driving a race car. I'm not saying a Top Fuel car is easy to drive. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's different. And when I had to rev that thing up, I had a shift light. But early in my career, I didn't have any shift lights. And going through the gears and winding that thing up to 11,000 RPM, that was cool, man. Those days I will never forget. I would love to drive a funny car. I would love to drive an alcohol funny car. I think that'd be super cool. But my dad said, TJ, as long as I'm alive, you are never, ever driving a funny car. But if you look really close, there is a funny car back there. So I'm getting my dad closer. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll be able to drive a funny car for him.
Hey, funny cars are cool, and Zizzo's cool. So Zizzo in a is even cooler. Needs to happen. For sure. Well, look. So, folks, we've got Steve Johnson in the studio. Before we go to him, TJ, let's talk a little bit about 2021. How many races are y'all thinking right now? And how does it work with your team? And y'all don't run the whole season. You hit some of those regional races. So how do y'all prepare for not a whole season going up against the guys that have all the data, as it were?
All that's a challenge. And that's what makes our team even better, because we don't have that knowledge. We don't have all those runs under our belt. We don't have 180 runs, by September. Sometimes we're going out in September with 0 runs, and we go out there and we kick their butts. So that's pretty cool. That even goes to show you how good we really are. If you think of how many runs we make, I think we've made 25 runs a year for a couple of years now, which isn't anything. So to answer your question, for 2021, that's all dictated right by cash flow. And we know right now in our sport, cash flow isn't great. We also know that businesses are kind of looking to see, hey, how are we going to spend our money in 2021? What do we want to spend it on? Is the new presidency going to help us? Is it going to hinder our economy? What's it going to do? So to answer your question, you're going to see us later in the year in 2021. And that's what we want to do as a team. We want to make sure COVID is clear and free and, maybe in a little better situation. Some of our guys, hey, I don't pay them on a daily basis. So if they don't want to fly somewhere, I'm not going to make them fly. We're going to make sure that everyone is cool and comfortable, but we're going to continue to work. We don't stop working on the thing behind me. We never stop working on that Rust-Oleum rocket ever. Our guys don't quit. We don't stop. We continue to work to make our team better the next time we go out. That race car doesn't know if it sits for 8 months or 8 minutes. It doesn't know the difference. So we're going to go out there and we're going to do the best we can when we get out there. So I'm assuming later on in 2021, you'll see us again.
Well, we're looking forward to it, man. Well, we're still waiting for Steve to come in camera, so we'll keep firing away on some questions. Oh, no, we got him there. He's ready. Well, look, I tell you what, we're going to bring Steve in. Hang with us, TJ, and we'll have two of the, fan favorites out there in NHRA drag racing right here on Competition Plus Power Hour.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
Tomorrow,
folks, we got Steve, TJ Zizzo, myself, Monday Morning Racer, Slam and Sam. Steve, how's it going, man?
I'm just over here painting my motorcycle with some Rust-Oleum. I never knew what paint to use, and now I know what paint to use. It's the Rust-Oleum brand, and that's the only stuff that I could ever possibly use. Rust-Oleum. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Zizzo, he did a better job than you tonight.
Well, let me tell you something. He's in Chicago, and I'm in Maine. Maine, up there in the corner. It's so cold. I've got all this stuff on, and I'm sure you can barely hear me, but TJ's always saying Chicago's cold. Actually, no, I'm not in Maine. I'm in Southern California. And it is warm, TJ. Very, very warm.
Well, I will tell you, Steve, I'm jealous, my man. I'm jealous of you, and I love that you use Rust-Oleum, and I got to tell you, you are awesome.
Wait, I can't hear you. The ball in the ball works so good when you mix up this paint. It's amazing how good it works.
Hey, shake it for about a minute, Steve, and just shut up for a while.
Oh, my God. Hold on. I want to write that down because 1 minute. Now, see, I'm getting tips about how to use this stuff. It's amazing. Okay, so anyway, here's not that I'm working on any promotion, but Larry Dixon has a top fuel ride. You should check out Larry Dixon for his top fuel ride. But it is very hot here. This is my Matt Smith shirt that's still available, and it's still hot because I'm in Southern California. It's still hot here. I've got to take off this shirt. Not that I'm promoting anything, but I do have an oil sponsor. Oh, anyway, so how are you guys doing?
We're great, Steve. We're great. Oh,
hey.
Wow.
Oh, man.
It's the Steve Power Hour now for sure.
Look, I even got a motorcycle over there. It's got my name on it. Can you hear it? It looks beat to hell or beat to heck, but that's only because I ride it. Let's see, where is the thing? Yeah, look at that. Who says racers have egos, right?
Oh, man.
Well, look, TJ, you have qualified very well in the virtual drag racing on competitionplus.com, so kudos to you. But, Steve, apparently you've won 3 in a row. That's a fan vote. How does that make you feel, man?
Well, it just goes back to hard work and just really cultivating your social media platform and trying to paint yourself into a corner of acceptance and hey, I'm just trying to wake up every morning and be like TJ. I love what I do also, and he doesn't have a corner on that market, but I tell you, we're all trying to keep up with him.
Steve, you are unbelievable, my man. Every interview I've ever done with him, I come out and my cheeks hurt, my eyes hurt, I start crying during it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the good thing there's not a photography director in my deal, because I can't get rid of the darn glare. But look, I gotta show everybody. This is a piston. I've been traveling all over, so it's a motorcycle piston. Okay, so these pockets, when your cam gets too big or you don't have the right piston to valve, folks, you got to cut this pocket. This is an intake pocket. So here is this cutter, and so I want to let everybody know that you can't put anything metal that's sharp in the airplane, and I don't check bags. So what you do is this just looks like something round. It's metal with orange tape on it. So if you take the tape off and you pull this cutter out, it's a fly cutter and it's a sharp edge, and you can get it by TSA. But this is what you do: you mount it in here and you spin this thing around. You see that sharp edge right there? It gets through TSA, and then you can take it to the race shops that you're going to visit, and they can teach you how to cut valve pockets on your piston.
The things you will learn on the Power Hour.
That's how you get big metal parts through TSA at the holidays.
Oh, man.
I mean, I can't even get a pocket knife by, and you're getting machine tool. Wow, impressive, dude, impressive.
Well,
I like what Destroyer 1320 said. in that comment right there. No more Red Bull. For sure.
I started interviews and like, hey, I was driving by Starbucks. I took a whiff and I'm like, wow, Jay Payne would be happy because I didn't get any calories from Starbucks, but I sure got a good smell of that caffeine. Hey, these phones are incredible. And I'll tell you, one of the coolest things I thought about is how to convey what goes on in our little world during the holidays, right? Of course, I can't use the thing. I haven't figured it out. But we've had so much fun traveling. And I know TJ and I are always thinking about things that we can do for our sponsors. And we actually learned, like he had a great testimonial about his sponsors. And I got to make sure. Oh, did I say anything about sponsor? Okay. So anyway, I really think it's a time that our society is involved in everybody else. Think a little bit about other people, our fellow man, and especially our sport. And TJ and I are so lucky to have Bob Button as a sponsor. And his whole deal is his company's powered by the greatest employees. And I personally want to be a fantastic human being. And I think this is such a great platform to transition about our sponsors and what we have in our relationships with sponsors and how it helps our racing team. And in our case, not to be corny, but my case, it's how to be a better person, how to lead and how to develop the greatest employees on the planet. And again, not to be corny, but TJ and I both learned from Bob Button on that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's right. If you don't have successful employees, your business is not going to be very successful at all. So he's what a slogan. What a slogan Bob Button has. It's super.
It's at Steve Johnson Racing, we there's Aretha and Martha and Mikey and Llewellyn in accounting. And then all on our manufacturing floors. I'll just go through each of the floors. That's on the 7th. This is the 7th floor. Here's the 5th floor, and here's marketing. Okay, and here's race development. Here's racing development. There. Oh man, there's development going on over there. I can't let you see. But all these employees at Steve Johnson Racing, it's important to keep them in. The point of the thing is just try to be great human beings. We have. NHRA has got the greatest, those people, this won't be popular with other racers, but I think they did an incredible job. They put on races in the middle of a pandemic when other motorsports and other venues, other sporting events couldn't have fans. We had fans.
Right, Steve. And look, if there's, for anything people may say that the NHRA gets wrong, true, and there may be some truth to that, they did get this handling of the pandemic right, and every race had fans. NASCAR can't say that. World of Outlaws can't say that. No other motorsport can say that. The NHRA said we stuck by our slogan, every ticket is a pit pass, because they had fans.
Yeah, it's so important that I think that we need that because, if you say something bad about our sport, wow, what a fantastic background. TJ, is that a sexy background? Oh my gosh.
CAF.
TJ's got this badass shop with all this kind of cool cars, and I've got a garage door spring. I swear I'm my favorite fan. I took my mom finally joined my fan club. So I'm up to 9 now. She's complaining about the $9.95. So she still technically is not part of the fan club, but I will tell you that I have let her in. So
right now, what are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to find a picture of her here. I took her to Top Golf. I don't know if you can. I took her to Top Golf. She's gonna turn 90, and I took her to Top Golf, and there's a game that you can play, And she wanted me to spot her strokes. I'm like, hey, man, what the hell? I'm not spotting your strokes. Anyway, that's a golf joke, I guess.
Wow. Zizzo, we need to bottle whatever Steve has and put that in cars. That's more powerful for the Nitro.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think he had way too many cups of coffee before this interview.
So I'm hoping this is a basket. Since you brought it up, this is a basket. TJ, what's that basket full of?
I don't know. It looks like a bunch of dead chickens or something. I don't have the slightest idea.
It's broccoli. We do not. My guy, on the serious side, my guy Jock had COVID, right? We all kind of know that, and he was on a ventilator for 24 days. And I'm telling you, I haven't been smart. TJ having kids, brought a tear to my eye. I had no idea he had kids and everything. I thought if you drag race, you gotta. I don't know where all his time comes from, but I don't have any kids and blah blah blah. But I love the kid, and he just wants to work. And when I went up to Jock's place for his homecoming, when they released him from the hospital, to say it simply in a political time, I was the only Rice Krispie in the bowl of Cocoa Puffs. So having said that, it was so amazing to see his transformation from having COVID and going through not breathing and almost dying, and then now he's back to full strength. He's lost his dreads, and he's on a real strict diet now. But it's we need to be more aware of that. And I'm telling you, from a public service announcement that you haven't asked for, if you feel sick, you got to take your temperature, put an oximeter on there. And you need to be somewhere in the 90s on your oxygen, and then, which everybody mostly is, but then get up and walk and take 20 steps or walk halfway down the street and come back. And if your oxygen level on that oximeter is in the 80s, 70s, 60s, something like that, you need to be writing that down. You need to be going somewhere, because that gives you a test. And as racers, that's what we have. We have race pack computers, and we can see where we were, where we are, and hopefully the changes that we can make to get to the place to where we want to be. So get an oximeter if you feel like you got it, and take care of yourselves, everybody. And broccoli is a great way to increase your arterial blood gases and have pH in it. So you need pH. Everybody thinks you got to eat all this other stuff. If you live the way nature does, you live the way animals do in nature, you will be a healthy person.
Did you say something about blood gases or something? What did you say?
I'm a pseudo. Hey, I've got a law degree because I've watched I don't know how many Law and Orders. I've got a medical degree because nobody gets in a COVID unit. Nobody gets in a COVID unit, especially in April, May, June, July. Well, when you go to Fort Knox, you knock on the door and you try to get in. They say, "Hey, man, you ain't coming in here." Well, I got the ink to the printers. And they say, "Oh, well, come on in." So you go to a COVID unit where your best employee on the planet is, and you got to get in there to give him moral support and keep him confident. I mean, even when he was in a coma, I would talk to him and tell him, "Man, you gotta be strong. You gotta come back." But when he was coming out of that, and as through that whole process, we brought him food. A lot of the NHRA racers, a lot of the NHRA business people, a lot of the business sponsors that I have, Harry Lartigue and Bob Button and Tony Tull. There were so many people, so many racers. They bought food for the nurses. So when they say you can't go in, you say, "Oh, okay, well, I've got all this catered food for the nurses," and they're like, "Oh, well, come on in." So again, being somebody that wants to share and give and do positive things, these are the easiest things you can do. If you've got somebody in a hospital, buy those nurses food, and they will be loving on you and really loving on your patient.
That's awesome. We thank all of our first responders, all of our servicemen and women out there that are listening to this, that support us. We can't thank you enough for what you guys have to go through and what you guys are dealing with. But talking about this, Steve, you experienced this yourself. So what, looking out now, I know Bobby Bennett went through this same situation here, and he's talking about running 2.5 miles daily now, and vitamin D. How do you think everything is going to change? How are you guys dealing with it as a team? You spoke a little bit about that. So what is your outcome or your forefront look into 2021?
Well, I'm trying to learn how to be better on the social media. So Jock and I got our sponsor, one of our sponsors, MacRack. He says, what can we do in the off time to help the team get better? And I said, well, here, any racer that does not have a laundry list of stuff when somebody asks how to get what you would spend money on, you're missing the boat, because I busted out the list. I got it right here with me, just in case y'all might want to ask. I went through this list of stuff, and Dyno came on. And the guy at MacRack, both Pam and Sean, they said, a dyno? Really? What about the dyno? And I said, look, I got a room. If we had a dyno, we could test the engines before we put them on the chassis dyno, and we could do some development work, because now, as you may or may not know, we have 4-valve per cylinder engines in NHRA. So while the V twins are 160 cubic inches and we're only 113, now we get this 4-valve engine that we can try to develop, and hopefully try to keep up with the 4 valves. But the real deal that I was saying is if we can get this dyno up and running, and we can get a couple of 4 valves, and we get some support. Did I tell you how much I really like that Rust-Oleum product? Anyway, so if we can get a little bit of support and work on these engines and get out and test, because they're going to have a totally different range of power, we really hope to try to fight and win a championship. When I signed in, I said NHRA wannabe pro stock champion. So we're going to fight. You guys nailed it on the head. There's a lot more money coming into our sport, as surprising as it is. There's some motorcycle teams that are coming into our sport that have plenty of dollars, and they're going to be real tough. So I feel like the sport's going to be, our class and the sport is going to be as good as it's ever been, and probably even a little bit better with all these challenges. And it's our job to make sure our motorcycle will be fast, it's tested, and we're ready to tear their throats out in Gainesville.
All right, so we got to work this out. We have on this show established, like, I'm supposed to be on a Top Fuel Harley. Someone's got to work that out, Mike Ashley. And we've also established that Quayne Stott wants to get Stevie Fast Jackson in a gasser and have a square off there because he's not in Pro Mod no more. We've also got Larry Morgan. He's going to be in an Edsel gasser coming up in 2021. So, look, can we work it out, Steve, and get Zizzo on your bike at a NHRA race?
Oh, I'm really trying to suck up to NHRA. I want to have the first pro stock motorcycle that's a 2-seater.
Who's calling shotgun?
Yeah.
I want to ride pillion. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hey, sidecar drag racing. It needs to happen.
When Larry Dixon was going through all this stuff, I swear to you, I'm like, I had my motorcycle set up on the stand in the shop, and I took two pieces of conduit and a chair from one of my offices, and I set the chair back there with the conduit, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about making some money with the 2-seater. What do y'all think? And
ooh, wow. Thank you, Steve. I did not know that. Thank you. I needed that.
Well, it was all meant in fun. I wish, again, I think I have pixie dust and everything's going to be great after I'm done with anybody or everybody. But I wish they would come together with him. And at the end of the day, when those people get out of his car, if you all have not seen a 2-seater Top Fuel dragster run the 1/8 of a mile at 250 miles an hour from somebody literally in the grandstands or somebody literally down the street from your house, throwing on a helmet and getting in this car. And when you see them get out of the car, they have a story to tell. You talk about caffeine. They are on the moon. And those are the kinds of resources that I feel would be successfully used to engage corporate America in sweepstakes, in employee appreciation, in conveying what our sport is away from television. I really love that idea, and I just wish we could use it to our advantage when we have something, especially a 3-time champion driving the car. It's folks, you got to check out Larry Dixon and his Nitro ×2. You know, obviously I'm promoting him. He's a good buddy of mine, and good buddy of TJ's. So those are the kinds of things that I think our sport. We have girls and African American and white knuckleheads and regular white people and Asian, and we have so much diversity in our sport. We have the most super facilities on the planet for a motorsport venue. We have the manufacturers midway. We have obviously some of the most ground pounding 11,000 horsepower, 300 mile an hour race cars in 1,000 feet. We have a TV package. We have so many things going for our sport right now that I really believe that at some point we're gonna bust through whatever bubble we're in, and we're gonna expand into something much bigger.
You make a great point there, Steve. You know, the IndyCar, for a couple years now, they've had Mario Andretti in a 2-seater going out there, and someone gets that special ride pacing the field, or a celebrity. Yeah, we need to get Larry out there and throw people in and make the first pass of the day before the top fuel goes out for the competition in round 1. So definitely. So Zizzo, I got to ask, could you ride in a top fueler, or would you have to drive? Could you handle riding?
I ain't no bitch. There's no way I'm riding with someone else driving. Are you kidding me?
What do you say? What? Hello?
I think that one's covered.
What is it? Halloween? There's a witch in the trail. Where's the witch? I don't understand.
Steve, they said PG-13. I think that's okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, it's. I got your back, Holmes. I got your back. Even in Southern California. Hey, that's exactly right. It's there's some of us that are drivers, but in Larry's deal, y'all take a quick guess. If you know what the answer is, no problem. Just scream it out. But do you know how much it costs to build a car, take it to a racetrack with a tractor trailer, grab a really good crew chief, and put a whole team together and make a run, supply all the insurance? How much do you think it costs for one run in that backseat of that top fuel dragster?
$3 million.
Yeah, I think to the rider, what is it? 10 grand a pass, I believe it is at the moment.
That's exactly right. It's 10 grand, and nobody knows this better than TJ and myself. When I got my first win, I looked at that hat and I'm like, people are like, wow, you've been wearing that hat for about a week. And I'm like, well, if you take 17 years of racing and you add up how much you've spent, I'm in this one hat about $3.4 million. This Electron hat is from, these are the people that make our carburetors. We're probably one of the only motorcycles still out there without electronic fuel injection. And these really aren't carburetors. They're Electron carburetors. So it's a really cool carburetor. The technology out there, we can mow through. A long time ago, Bernstein went 300 miles an hour in a national dragster. There was a picture of a $100 bill, and I guess Eddie Hill sent Kenny Bernstein a note that says, "How did your car go 300 miles an hour?" And Bernstein took a picture of a $100 bill and sent it to him. He says, "Get as many of these as possible and put them into your race team, and you might go 300 miles an hour."
Yep.
I got to ask a question here. Who is the better rapper out of you two?
We have our first rap battle on Power Hour. Yes.
I can rap with the best of them, brother.
Then come on over to my house and we'll take care of you, honey.
Hey, Steve, do you remember that rap that you did? I forget what year it was, but on the NHRA stage, you had the mic malfunction with Joe. Do you by chance remember that rap at all?
I do. And people ask me about that a fair amount. You can do a YouTube deal on Steve Johnson raps. I think it is at Englishtown, but it had something like, because we qualified #1 and Graham was in charge back then, and he said, look, we don't have much time, so I put on the Flavor Flav clock. TJ, you would have loved it, man. I had that Flavor Flav clock on, and I had the whole wrap, the hat sideways and everything, and I said something like hey, we're here qualifying's I'm here, qualifying's done. Oh my God, who's #1? And it was me. And we're not we're not here. We're not when racing's all done, when qualifying's all done. Oh my God, look who's #1. That was it. And I came up with that on the way to the track that morning. But it was it's not about a tan. But we're here to race. It's Sunday, and we're here to race. It's not about a tan. It's winning this race and becoming the man, or something like that. So that was a good. I appreciate you bringing that up. I wish I knew it. I wish I could remember it, but I haven't qualified #1 in a while.
Okay, so challenge out to you guys from Slam and Sam, Outlaw Performance ENT, and Mavro Motorsports. Whichever one of you guys qualifies #1 first, we need a rap out of you guys.
I'm all in, man.
That rap has to include whoever the other person is. So TJ, if you qualify first, you have to mention Steve, and Steve, if you qualify first, you have to mention TJ in it. There you go. Challenge for both of you guys.
Raps.
I'm down with that. That sounds cool. We qualified 4th at our last event, so we're getting closer.
You
one step at a time.
You definitely are. Everybody, they think, part-time team, they don't run the full schedule. Look, when y'all show up, y'all can lay down a number. 370s are there for you. Y'all put down some competitive numbers when you show up. So it's out there for y'all to get a #1 for sure.
We're working on it, just like Steve there with that little fly cutter he's got, grinding on pistons.
Okay, let's see if you can hear this.
Oh, boy.
Push the button, Steve. Push the button.
Can you hear that?
We can hear it.
Please, Raceway Park. If you know how to ride, you can leave your mark. Hey, here's the ladder. Qualifying's done. Let's take a look. Oh my God, who's #1? Good stuff there, Kramer. But today is Sunday, and it ain't about a tan. It's about winning this race and being the man.
Oh, wow.
I did that off the top of my head, but there are some copyright infringement title deals, and I'm just not actually allowed to. Playing it on YouTube, it's not a problem, but contractually, us big time racers, just doing the best we can. As corny as that may be, Slick 50, obviously a big supporter of our deal. They're like, oh my gosh, Steve, where did you come up? Can you do a rap for Slick 50? And I'm like, I did a really cool video for them for a long time. And my dad told me, winning the first race and giving the trophy to my dad. That'd be a great question for you guys. What do you do with where's your first trophy? My first trophy went to my dad at my dad's house, right? And he was so proud of that. And I was proud to look on the mantle when I was there and wow, what's that trophy for? And he'd tell me, well, I had to raise this punk kid, and I had to go to school, and I had to bail him out of trouble all the time, and I had to get him a car, blah, blah, blah. But there is it is really neat that Slick 50 allowed me to do that, and you know, they stock that stuff at O'Reilly, and I do stuff for those people all the time. But at the end of the day, I believe the technology. You know, I believe how the oil's in the pan when you start your car, no matter what it is, a top fueler or a motorcycle or a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower. But those are the kinds of things that, like TJ was talking about, really make a difference with sponsors, where you can really show, you know, some value back to them and how it can work on a motorcycle. And we help them develop the motorcycle product. So I'm proud of that. And I just, I love to be able to talk about those, because it goes back to the relationships that us racers enjoy and try to develop with sponsors. It's absolutely it's vital. Like Kenny Bernstein says, you need a whole bunch of these $100 bills to shove. I was telling the Mac Rack, they engineer the repair of your racking system at your business. You know, in Chicago, there's these 1 million square foot buildings just filled with like Amazons, just filled with product. And when the forklift runs into them and smashes them, they got to unload all that stuff and pick it all back up and put it and fix the racking system and then load the stuff all back on. Well, these people engineer a way to repair it better than it was, and you never have to take the stuff off the rack. So these are, and that guy is an engineer, and he lets me have it when I don't leave the starting line right. If I don't throw my body forward on a motorcycle, that's what you're supposed to do. When you let go of the clutch, you want to throw your body forward so you have dynamic ballast instead of static ballast. And that's something that none of the car guys can do, but the motorcycles can.
Guys, look, we're going to begin shutting down the power hour, even though, Steve, I know you got plenty of power for all night if we were able to go all night and stream that long.
I think he ate all that broccoli.
I just ate all the broccoli, yes.
I'm on page 1. I've only got 7 more pages to go.
Yes. Look, let's end with this, guys. You mentioned about that trophy, that Wally, Steve. So Zizzo, to you first, then Steve. In 2021, you get that Wally. Where does it go? Zizzo.
It goes right to my dad. There's no, it doesn't go to you, Sam. It goes right to my old man. And that thing will be the prized possession, and I will throw it in his coffin when he passes, too.
All right, two pops. I think that's a good place for it to go. And Steve, you, 2021, get a win. Where does that Wally go?
eBay. Just kidding. Oh, that was a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
All kidding aside, all these interviews usually end in a very positive, high note. And I will tell you that I was at a trade show in TJ's backyard, and he sponsors he helps a guy and sponsors a charity out there with breast cancer. And there's lots of girls going through breast cancer right now, along with all these other things. So I really, as much as I'd love to have the last word, TJ, give them a little bit of love about your affiliation with the breast cancer and raising money to you got a buddy there, right?
We do all kinds of charity work here, and that's what drives us, right? I mean, it's not 330 miles an hour that drives us. It's fans and giving back to fans and their charities. Absolutely.
Yeah, good for you. I was so proud. The guy says, I know TJ, and I'm like, well, you know, everybody says they know TJ. I mean, I've been trying to get your autograph for 20 years now. But anyway, it's our whole sport. You guys doing the show, and Bobby Bennett with Competition Plus, and in all fairness, all the media outlets that help us, everybody always has a bigger heart. They always have more minds. We're always thinking about business and stuff, but there are opportunities in life, and I just feel like, man, when you give something and you give it out of your heart, you give it positively. I remember going on a date, and I sure as hell didn't want to see the movie she wanted to see, but I still went anyway. Not that kind of stuff, right? I'm talking about, oh, I love broccoli. No, you don't. You need to love broccoli, but you don't. You do this stuff sincerely, and it will, it's a great, great feeling. It's a great time to talk about it, especially with the new year. We're all going to kick butt in 2021. Thank you, TJ. Thank you guys for having us, especially Bobby Bennett. He's challenged because his weight is closer to the ground as but he's getting rid of that now. He told me that he's exercising and stuff. So it's a great time to be an NHRA fan, and come to our races. Buy your tickets early, and come find TJ and me. If you want to water, if you want to learn about Camping World, we'll tell you all about them. Shitter's full. Okay, so the PJ team missed, but anyway.
Well, guys, look, thank you for your time. We're going to let you go this evening. Zizzo, thank you. Steve, thank you.
See you guys. Don't forget the Rust-Oleum, the rattle can.
Thank you, guys. Well, that was plenty enough power for the Power Hour. I think that's the most powerful show we've had so far. Sam, what do you say, man?
Great laughs, great time. I mean, how could you pair two people that have that much energy into one show and not enjoy yourself? Learn a couple of things new about TSA, the random things that we learned tonight and the good laughs that we had. I mean, great show, Lee. And like I said, everyone's saying it. We had a lot of power tonight, and that's leading into, the virtual reality. Yeah, the virtual reality race. If you guys have not done already.
I voted in qualifying every class.
I don't see your sticker. So it didn't count.
I voted Doug Foley. Thank you very much. Yes, Doug Foley.
No, you're not supposed to tell who you vote for.
Well, it's obvious. I mean,
it's controversy. So you can't do that. But yes, get over there, vote. If you guys missed the show, if you guys are driving tomorrow or the New Year's and you want to listen to it, Competition Plus, we are on every major platform for your podcast platform. So go ahead and listen to that. If you guys got any questions for next week, we don't know exactly who we have on. The rumor mill, tension in the rumor mill, kind of lean towards a guy who has the first and the second initial in the alphabet. I'm going to give you that. You can take it where you want. So that's in the rumor mill, but you can go over and send us an email at powerhourcp@gmail.com. Lee, guess what? Safety Safari is in my ears. They're telling me I got to go and get off the track because the track is hot. So please shut us down tonight for the last episode of the 2020 season.
Folks, we hope that each and every one of you have a stellar new year and that 2020 will be a blessing to you instead of the curse that it's been in 2021. Hey, by the way, if you like TJ Zizzo, if you like Steve Johnson, go buy a t-shirt, go get a hat. I want that Lectron hat that Steve had. Hey, you can join me Thursday night between the slicks. I got Cameron Foray on, the professor. Yeah, because he's actually a professor. Check out my man Slammin' Sam at Mad Bro Motorsports on YouTube. Outlaw Performance Entertainment. He's got a great podcast. Folks, this has been the Power Hour on Competition Plus. By the way, if you want drag racing news, that is the place to go.